Welcome to the Nightly Rant
with
your hosts, Mike
and Torya.
This is the show where we examine society from a sarcastic point of view.
If you like insane conversations, this is definitely the show for you.
Let's get into today's topic. YPN people, I don't know about you, but I love helping out a friend. That's why I want to shout out my friend Brian Little and his podcast, Your Favorite Blockhead. This is the only show that manages to weave together peanuts and MMA into one heck of an amazing podcast. You can find Your Favorite Blockhead wherever your favorite podcasts reside and at yourfavoriteblockhead.com. Do me a huge favor and listen to Brian's show. You'll be entertained and you'll help out a friend. Now, as I said, let's get into today's topic. Have you ever registered for a webinar knowing full well you weren't going to go to the webinar and were just expecting to grab the replay so you could zip through it?
Like 100 times this week.
It's my favorite thing to do.
Except I never actually go back and watch them like I intend to.
And I created a Gmail a long time ago that is specifically for stuff like that. And I've never logged into it.
Wow.
Just never logged into it.
What the heck? Well, what's the point?
Because I only have it send the webinar information there so that I can watch the webinar. I don't want all the junk that comes afterwards.
Oh, I getcha.
And if something was particularly interesting and I do want to follow that person, then I'll subscribe from my actual email address.
But how do you get the link to the webinar?
They give it to you when you register. Puts it right in the calendar event.
Oh, well, you apparently go to more high-tech webinars than I do.
Well, yeah, like this whole event today.
Oh, yeah.
The Influencer Day event.
Saw.
It was run off of Zoom. She did the entire thing off of Zoom. Hey, it's not a bad use of her money.
Right. Seemed pretty cool, though. Seemed pretty stable. People can call in or people can watch it.
Yeah, it seemed pretty functional. But that reminds me of something that we need to talk about. We had to leave during the initial sessions. And so I switched to the phone to listen on the phone. And why did we have to leave?
Because we were going to get our new keys.
Keys for what?
Keys for our brand spanking new fancy office.
Yes. Starting Monday, we'll be working from an actual office location.
Well, we could officially start tomorrow, but...
Yep. Tomorrow we're going to do some move-in stuff.
Yeah.
But it's going to be exciting because it's nice and quiet. But I laugh at us when I think about it. Like, we spent so much time talking about whether the desk would be okay the way we put it, and where should this go, where should that go. We're so picky about stuff like that. It's not even funny.
It needs to be comfortable and functional. I want to be able to look out the window.
Well, you'll be able to do that all day long.
I know. We'll see how much I like it after a few weeks. We might need to rearrange again.
Now you just close the blinds.
There's one other way you could put that office that would work okay, though. You could put it so that...
Back to back.
Yeah. Well, no, front to front. We could face each other. That would be fine.
Yeah, like in the middle, back towards the window.
Currently I feel best about how it is.
Me too.
So hopefully the window's not too distracting. It's not like there's like anything exciting out the window.
Well, you're on the 7th floor.
Yeah.
You're actually in the top floor of that building. It doesn't go any higher than that.
Well, and then she was telling us when we were signing the lease and everything, there's like a farmer's market there once a week.
Yeah.
And there's like other stuff. And my guess is there's food truck days. Places like that have food truck days sometimes.
Yeah, you never know. But it'll be nice because you're back kind of like an office culture about your own office.
Yeah. It's going to feel more like work instead of like sitting on the couch and hating my existence.
Well, I think it's going to change your mindset a lot because home no longer becomes where you're supposed to work.
Right.
It's kind of, I kind of think of it like relationship experts will tell you that you shouldn't have a television in the bedroom because the bedroom is for sleeping and sex and not for watching television. And if you turn the bedroom into the place where you watch television, pretty soon it will be the only thing that you do there is sleep and watch television. And I think that when you work from home, it's a good thing for life in general, right? But where it's bad is that you wind up making everything into work.
Right. You work like 16 to 18 hours a day.
I actually think that regardless of what anyone says, I don't think you actually do 16 hours worth of work. I think you still only do like 8 hours worth of work. And that's why when I would go to an office on a contract, they would look at me and be like, you do like 10 days worth of work in a week.
Yeah.
And that's because when I have no distractions, I can get a lot.
And what's interesting is we're the same way. I remember when I was still at H&R, I would be kind of lazy on like first couple days of the week. And then there'd be a super push to get everything done by Friday. And I would get it all done on Thursday and Friday. And nobody would be any wiser because everything was done.
Well, right. So this way, you have time to focus. It will be quieter. It's our environment that we design.
It's why people like us get so burnt out, though, because we work so much faster, but because we work so much faster, we have more downtime to like recuperate. But when other people start to notice how much faster we work and start to fill the downtime, you get burnt out.
Right. No, that's very true. It's very true. But I think it's going to change. Like I said, I think it's going to change your mindset. I think you're going to realize that you can get stuff done in less hours. And I think that you're going to like leaving an office and being able to mentally say to yourself, the work day is over.
Maybe.
I feel that the part of the conflict for me here has not been just working from home, because I've done that for a long time. It's having my partner also be working from home. And I feel like it's too easy for us to have a short temper with the other person when it's like that. But I think if we're in a more professional environment where it's work, and that's our mindset, is that we're at work, then we won't head down a path like that.
Well, we'll see how it goes. I have nothing but good things to think.
We'll see. I think it's going to be a very, very good thing. And it's going to be a game changer for us. And I think revenue-wise, it's going to really be a game changer for us.
Yeah, let's hope so. I mean, it would
Business
suck.
people always tell you that when you take the risk and you create an expense that's just for the business, like a lot of times it's hiring your first part-time employee or your first full-time employee.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times that's it. Well, I feel like we took baby steps. We got an agency going, and we have people who regularly work with us in that agency. Right. So they depend upon us for money. And we've gotten used to providing that. And now when you step up and you take on an office, I feel like business-wise, we're going to step up to cover the cost of that office.
Well, I would hope so, because
But we budgeted for it, so we should be fine. But the point I'm making is, I think from a business perspective, you focus more on bringing in more business because there's a little bit higher of expenses. So the objective should always be bring in more than what you put out. So, if you increase your expenses by $500 a month, you want to bring in $750, $800 a month extra to cover for it plus some.
Right.
And that's what keeps driving you to higher and higher profits.
Right.
And higher revenues is things like that. So I think it's, that's why you make investment into your business so that on the other side, you get more coming out the other side back. You get a bigger return.
I think it's going to be interesting. And I think I'm really going to like my fancy equipment that I'm going to set up.
Well, yeah. And there's some things that we have coming up that we'll talk about another time.
Yeah.
But there's definitely some irons in the fire.
Yes.
So that's going to change some things, and we're going to tighten some things up, I think, a bit, like super tight, for instance.
I think we have some good things coming.
I wanted to touch on something because yet another tragedy has occurred in Virginia Beach, and I'm not even sure of the number, but I know there's more than 10 people that were killed. Another dang crazy person. And I'm sorry, but using the term crazy loosely is people that do this stuff have to have a mental illness. They have to.
Well, do we know anything about the shooter at this time at all? Like the last time you looked? Obviously don't need to look right now.
I didn't really notice too much. But I will say, I want people to understand where I'm coming from on that comment. I do not feel
like
that you can gun down people in cold blood for no good reason.
Unless there's something wrong with you.
Like
seriously wrong with you. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
It says 12 people and 4 more to the hospital. He was a disgruntled employee.
Sweet Jesus. And we just talked about being burnt out.
And it was at a Virginia Beach city.
I just talked about being burnt out.
Yeah.
And I did not know any of these things before he just said them.
Yeah.
By the way.
And the shooter died after a gunfight with the police.
Until about 30 seconds before we started talking on this podcast, I didn't even know that there had been a shooting.
Yeah.
Because I live under a rock.
His name was Dwayne Craddock. He was 40. He worked as a certified professional engineer for the city of Virginia Beach in the Public Utilities Department.
Wow. That's just a whole lot
He
of
was
wow.
listed in the department news releases as the point of contact for information on local road projects over the past several years.
I feel like that's enough to make anybody go a little bit nuts. Can you imagine? Road project? Can you imagine how many angry people called that dude on a daily basis?
Yeah, and that's my point. It's like there's going to be this loud outcry for gun control measures.
I don't think that
And what I predict will happen is the Democrats in Congress will pass some gun control bill, and the Republicans in the Senate will deny them the approval of said bill.
It's unfortunate. You just said he was a disgruntled, longtime employee of a government office. What does that have to do with gun control? Does that not sound like there's something wrong with the position he was working at if he felt a need to go and kill 12 of his coworkers?
Regardless of what was wrong with his position, he snapped.
Right. Something made that dude snap. He's an engineer. He's obviously a well-educated person.
Yeah, he didn't do this because of guns.
It's not like he's some redneck.
Yeah, he didn't do it because he has guns and he wanted to take over the government or something stupid.
There's something there.
And that's the thing. Then people are going to say, why aren't they calling him a terrorist? Well, he's not a terrorist if he didn't have a political motive, and he doesn't have a political motive. His motive was he was pissed off with his job.
Right.
Disgruntled employee.
Right. Government job or not, that does not make it political.
And people are going to scream and yell about that. And, I used to say something. I don't say anything anymore.
Well, I do.
It's not even worth it because the people, they don't get it. They don't grasp it. They don't know what the word means. I mean, I literally had somebody who argued with me about some stuff, and then I gave them the definition of the word, and they laughed at me and said, "You're going to use the dictionary definition of the word?" And I said, well, considering that that's the accepted standard use of the word in society, yeah, that's why I'm going to use the dictionary definition.
I can't help it with those people who scream more gun control, because they just piss me off so fucking much. Why are we avoiding the issue to advance your political agenda? Why are we not talking about what the actual issue was? Why are we not talking about maybe adding some kind of mental health benefits to required benefits to give to employees?
Well, and then what people will say that are opposed to dealing with the mental health issue is they'll say, well, the mental health issue, yeah, it is a big part of the component. But the more serious aspect is this 20% over here.
No,
it's the 60% or 65 or 70% that are mentally ill.
Let's talk about
versus
the biggest piece.
Versus like the 30% who might have some political agenda and they're terrorists. Well, the 60% are mentally ill people. If you solve that, you cut these deaths down tremendously.
Well, and let's be real. The people who are terrorists are also mentally ill. Like we just said, you don't gun people down unless you're sick in the head.
Yeah, but in their case, they have an extra thing that pushes them over the edge. They have the political aspect of it. So it's like I said to you, I could never kill somebody. Just couldn't do it under one circumstance, though. If they're threatening the life of one of my loved ones, that's the thing that pushes me over there.
Honestly, I think we watched that whole Dirty John thing. We listened to the podcast. We watched the
right
fiction. We watched the real. I think that's the only scenario where I could actually,
to defend yourself.
Take a life.
To defend yourself or to defend somebody else that you care about.
And my goal wouldn't be to take the life. My goal would be to make the person stop assaulting whoever I was trying to protect.
Right. Exactly.
That's it. I couldn't go out and be like, I don't like the shirt you're wearing today. Goodbye now.
Well, right. Oh, I can't
even fathom that. Sometimes I envision slapping people, but that wouldn't kill them.
And this is why there has to be something mentally wrong with a person that goes out and does that.
Right.
And I'm not quite understanding, wouldn't it make sense that if you were the gun people, wouldn't it make sense to lobby for the mental health issue? Because that kind of takes this focus off of you and puts it where it actually belongs.
You're right. They should be.
So why are they dropping the ball on that?
Pro-gun lobbyists should really be focusing on that.
Yeah. It's been a hectic week.
Like a super hectic week.
And I'm super tired.
And the Beans is already asleep.
Beans is dead. The Yog Dog is dead.
He finally stopped licking my shorts. Good night, everyone.
Hasta la bye-bye, people. Thank you for listening to the Nightly Rant.
If you enjoyed the show, please give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or Google Play.
If you didn't enjoy the show,
please just ignore that previous request for a rating.
This has been a Yogi's Podcast Network production.